The building at midnight felt like a held breath. Ethan Cole stood alone in the lobby of Cole Systems, the glass walls reflecting him back in fragments, his sharp jaw, loosened tie, the faint shadow under his eyes that no amount of success seemed to erase. Outside, the city hummed faintly, but inside, everything was still. Too still. The kind of quiet that made thoughts louder. His phone vibrated again. Another investor. Another message he wouldn't answer. The numbers from the board meeting replayed in his head like a bad loop. Server instability. Rising costs. A warning wrapped in polite language. Get it under control, or we will. He exhaled sharply and turned toward the elevators, then stopped. The squeak of rubber wheels echoed down the hallway. The janitor's cart emerged from the shadows, moving slowly, methodically. Mr. Harris pushed it with both hands, his back slightly bent, gray hair neatly combed despite the late hour. He hummed quietly, some tune Ethan didn't recognize, as he wiped fingerprints from the glass wall near the conference room. Ethan's irritation flared instantly. It wasn't rational, but nothing had been rational lately. You're still here, Ethan said, his voice cutting through the silence. Mr. Harris looked up, startled, then smiled politely. Evening, sir. Almost done. It's after midnight. Yes, Mr. Harris said, nodding. I like to finish the third floor properly. Fewer people around. Easier to focus. Ethan folded his arms. You've been staying late all week. Security flagged it. I didn't mean to cause trouble, Mr. Harris said quickly. I clock out on time. I just stay a bit longer. That's not how it works, Ethan snapped. This isn't a hobby space. I don't need you wandering around after hours. Mr. Harris hesitated. I'm not wandering. I was checking. Enough, Ethan said, his patience gone. The pressure in his chest needed somewhere to go, and this was easy. I don't care what you're checking. You're done here. Mr. Harris blinked. I'm sorry. You're fired, Ethan said flatly. Effective immediately. Turn in your badge. The hum stopped. The cart stood still. For a moment, Mr. Harris simply looked at him, as if searching for something behind Ethan's words. Then his shoulders lowered slightly, like a man setting down a weight. All right, he said softly. He reached up, unclipped his badge, and walked over to the reception desk. He placed it down carefully, straightening it so the logo faced up. The small gesture made Ethan's throat tighten for reasons he refused to examine. I didn't mean any disrespect, Mr. Harris said. I just wanted to make sure things ran smoothly. I said I don't care, Ethan replied, harsher than necessary. Mr. Harris nodded once. He turned back to his cart, adjusted the trash bag, and pushed it toward the service elevator without another word. No argument, no anger, just quiet acceptance. The elevator doors closed with a dull metallic sound. Ethan stood there alone again. For a brief second, triumph flickered, control reasserted, problem removed. Then it faded, leaving behind a hollow echo that felt uncomfortably like shame. He shook it off, grabbed his coat, and left the building without looking back. 3 days later, the servers went down. It started just after noon, right in the middle of a product demo for potential partners. Screens froze, systems lagged, then everything went black. Get IT on the line, Ethan barked, pacing the conference room as murmurs filled the air. They're already working on it, someone said nervously. They don't know why the backup cooling didn't kick in. By the time the demo was officially cancelled, Ethan's headache had become a sharp, pulsing thing. He sent everyone home early and stayed behind, anger buzzing under his skin. That night, he returned to the office after dinner, determined to figure out what everyone else seemed incapable of fixing. The building felt different without Mr. Harris. Trash bins were fuller. Smudges lingered on glass walls. A faint, stale smell clung to the hallways. Ethan noticed all of it, though he told himself it meant nothing. The power flickered as he walked toward the server wing. Then it went out completely. Perfect, Ethan muttered. Emergency lights cast the hallway in a dull red glow. He swore under his breath and headed for the supply room, rummaging through drawers for a flashlight. Something slid out and hit the floor with a soft thud. A notebook. He frowned and picked it up. The cover was worn, corners bent, the kind of notebook someone carried daily. On the front, written neatly in black ink, was his name. Ethan Cole. His stomach tightened. He flipped it open. The first pages were filled with dates and observations. Third floor AC vent rattling, loose bracket. Server room temperature spikes at night. Cooling system lagging. Backup generator tested. Fuel line weak. Ethan's pulse quickened as he turned page after page. Diagrams. Hand-drawn layouts of the building. Notes about wiring, airflow, small fixes done quietly after hours. This wasn't janitorial work. This was engineering. He reached the most recent entry. Spoke to Ethan tonight. He seems tired. Under pressure. Servers overheating again. Stayed late to monitor. Ethan sank into the chair behind him. At the back of the notebook, a folded sheet of paper fell free. His hands trembled slightly as he opened it. Ethan, I never said much because it didn't seem like my place. I used to be an engineer, systems design, data infrastructure. Lost my firm during the downturn. Lost my wife not long after. Cleaning helps keep my thoughts in order. I stayed late because your servers were failing quietly. Heat, stress fractures, little things that become disasters if ignored. I fixed what I could without stepping on toes. I didn't want your work to fall apart. If you're reading this, something probably already has. Harris. The emergency lights flickered again. Then the main lights surged back to life. Ethan stared at the notebook, his reflection faintly visible in the polished table. For the first time in years, his confidence cracked completely. He had fired the one person who truly understood what was breaking. Without hesitating, he grabbed his coat and keys. It took hours. He checked Mr. Harris' file for an address, empty. Called the number on record, disconnected. He drove through the city, stopping at shelters, late-night diners, even the bus terminal. Each rejection tightened the knot in his chest. Just before dawn, exhausted and desperate, he spotted a familiar figure outside the old public library. Mr. Harris was sweeping the steps, the same careful motions, the same quiet focus. Ethan parked abruptly and stepped out. Mr. Harris, he said, voice hoarse. The old man looked up, surprised. Then recognition dawned. Mr. Cole, I was wrong, Ethan said immediately. Pride didn't matter anymore. About everything. I didn't listen. I didn't look. Mr. Harris rested his hands on the broom. You were under stress. That's not an excuse, Ethan said. He held out the notebook. This saved my company. You saved my company. Mr. Harris studied the notebook, then gently closed it. I didn't do it for thanks, he said. I did it because I care about things working. About people not losing what they've built. Ethan swallowed. Come back. Not as a janitor. As an engineer. As whatever title you want. Full authority. Full respect. Silence stretched between them. Finally, Mr. Harris nodded once. I'll come back, he said. But only if you remember this moment. I will, Ethan said quietly. As the sun rose behind them, casting light over the steps, Ethan felt something unfamiliar settle in his chest. Not relief, not victory, but humility. And for the first time since founding his company, he understood that real strength wasn't about who you could fire at midnight, but who you were willing to see before it was too late.